they marry. So I want to ask that whether this was prevalent during Prabhupada's time also, that disciples are making girlfriends, boyfriends, and then marrying together.
From the beginning of time.
Shall we, Rupa Manjari, can you sort of mediate and let me understand
He said,
what he's saying, asking?
he said that currently in ISKCON, guys and girls are having boyfriend girlfriend before they decide to get married, and he's asking if in Prabhupada's time was that the way they did it? Did they have boyfriends and girlfriends?
No question.
Well, there was two things. Like Gurudas and Jamuna were already a couple when they joined, and Malati and Shamasundar were already a couple when they joined. So he married them. But when somebody else wanted to get married, sort of like Saradia or Saradia, as some people insist on calling her, that that Saradia and Vaikuntanath,
I remember.
she wanted to marry Vaikuntanath, but she wasn't his girlfriend. She wasn't his girlfriend. That they were put together. And I think the same with Bharadraj and Rukmini. They were not, most of the devotees that got married, either they had some preference without being boyfriend and girlfriend, or Prabhupada simply chose who will be husband, who will be wife, like that. But it wasn't the formal Indian standard whereby, the two families talk together, they do astrological charts, they do complicated financial calculations, dynastic relationships. It wasn't like that because we didn't belong to any Indian or Hindu or historic dynasties of Krishna consciousness, or even any sort of consciousness, meaning no Shiva, no Durga, whatever. So Prabhupada just took raw people off the street and he combined them as best he could. He did. He combined them, and they became they became married couple. The one thing I should note, if possible, is that marriage, you have diksha, meaning you're accepted by the spiritual master. We are establishing that ISKCON is Prabhupada's body. Therefore, no matter what else, ISKCON is your initiating guru, because ISKCON is Prabhupada. It's not a problem, no? And we just established that pretty solidly today, for sure. So ISKCON is Prabhupada's body. Therefore, if you're initiated by Prabhupada if you're initiated as an ISKCON devotee. And typically the ISKCON devotees used to initiate on the order of Prabhupada. In other words, Prabhupada would give the name, chant on the beads, then the temple president would do the fire sacrifice. And that fire sacrifice is the initiation ceremony. Giving the name is part of it. Chanting on the japa beads is sort of part of it, although it's not particularly required. But the fire sacrifice is required. That's where this, and so fire sacrifice, wedding ceremony, shraddha ceremony when somebody dies, Anaprasana ceremony when a child reaches 4 months old, they can eat their first grains and pick the gold or the books. It's all these different sannyas, Brahmin initiation, sannyas initiation. All of these initiations are basically the same thing. So a wedding is another form of initiation, and it should be taken seriously like that.
Video.
I'm sorry?
Video.
Okay, video. Okay, Mahaprabhu wants his video. Okay, let me load up the video, Mahaprabhu. 1 second.
Who is the nice Prabhu who's talking to us?
Yeah, I am. It's Vinayak here.
Who?
Vinayak.
Vinay? Have you been on before?
Yeah,
Haribol.
I've been almost
Hari-
every week.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I
Welcome.
just see all I
Nice.
see in your name is a V.
Oh, yeah.
From India.
Yeah, I'm from India.
What time is it over there?
Jaipur.
Yes.
So in India it may be around 9:15.
AM?
Yeah.
Thank you. Haribol. Come on, Ramachandra.
Hold on, I got the video. 1 second.
Hare Krishna.
All right. Where is it? Show sound.
Jai Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Mansa Paribhajagacharya
Okay, Mahaprabhu, small video. What do you think? You gotta unmute yourself. I muted you. There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We needed that.
Right.
Amen. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jai Hare Krishna. All right, so we can get back to our normal course of action. Let me load up the email and then we get the discussion going on that. In the meantime, anyone can ask any questions online, whoever there is. Okay.
Mm. Are we getting a lot of online enthusiasts?
We're getting a lot of views, but
Nice. Nice.
people are coming and watching and leaving, and but no one is joining. But you know, it doesn't matter. I think as long as they watch it,
No
it's all
problem.
right.
That's right.
Okay, so here's the quote we're going to be reading. Okay, this is from Srila Prabhupada speaking at Vrindavan, May 17th, 1977. If death takes place, let it take here. There is nothing to be said new. Whatever I have to speak, I have spoken in my books. Now you try to understand it and continue your endeavor. Whether I am present or not, it doesn't matter, as Krishna is living entity. Similarly, living beings also live eternally. But one who has done service to the Lord lives forever. So you have been taught to serve Krishna, and with Krishna we will live eternally. Our life is eternal. A temporary disappearance of this body doesn't matter. Body is meant for disappearance. So live forever by serving Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Mahaprabhu,
Krishna.
what do you have to say for that?
Oh, beautiful words.
Yeah.
Krishna is who we are. We are the soul.
Krishna is not who we are. We're part and parcel of Krishna.
That's right. We're not the body.
Infinitesimal part.
Yes, infinitesimal part and parcel of Krishna. Yes.
That's a small part.
Insignificant part, yes.
Infinitesimal has no dimension.
But just as powerful.
No, infinitesimal is not as powerful as infinite.
Infinitesimal means infinitely small.
But it carries the power of the infinite.
In an infinitesimal quantity. In other words,
Yeah.
we are by nature, by destination, servants. We never cease to be servants. Because we're not Krishna. Krishna is the only non-servant in existence. Everyone else is a servant.
We're just a grain of sand on the beaches, but we're part of the beach. Is that correct?
Well, in a sense, except where the beach sand is not conscious, we are. And the beach itself is also not conscious. But in terms of dimension, we're smaller than the grain of sand, and Krishna is bigger than the beach.
But we carry the power of the spirit.
No, what do you mean? We are part and parcel of the supreme being, God.
We are
part and parcel of God.
We are a speck of him or her or Krishna
Not even
or
that
Radha.
Big. A speck is huge. Infinitesimal is non-dimensional. A speck under a microscope looks like a football field.
Mm-hmm. But we are connected, which is the important part.
The connection is, that also is a strange thing, because we're not connected in that sense. We are already eternally part, but our part is infinitesimal, and it has the capacity of independence. If it didn't, then when somebody dies and goes to heaven, as Christians like to imagine, they would be robots in heaven. They would have no free will, eh? So free will is always there. In the material world, our free will is used to make ourselves important, or either that or to pay to obtain our necessities for the body that we happen to be in at the moment. And our body could change at any time. We have no control over our body changing.
Does a fly have a free will?
Of course.
A lizard?
How do you think he became a fly? By accident? He became a fly by desire.
A lizard?
Same. Every creature is in his body because of desire. Material desire. And none of these creatures have even the slightest inkling of becoming self-realized. Only the human has that opportunity.
Is it possible to digress?
Meaning what? To go to a lower birth?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't follow the four-legged principles, you are definitely going to take a lower birth. The whole point of being a Kanistha Adhikari, as we discussed from every angle of vision, basically, the whole point of being a Kanistha Adhikari is so that you will not take a lower birth.
Hare Krishna.
You'll come back to the human.
Breaking up.
No?
You broke up.
Oh, really?
Not
You have
me-
to talk to Shravanacharya. Huh?
Can you repeat what you said, Narayan?
Which part?
Just the last 15 seconds.
Good luck.
Okay, what did you recall going up to the last 15 seconds?
I'm blanking, sorry.
Me
We're
too.
We're all blanking.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
So, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Go ahead,
Hare
ask
Krishna.
your question. Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhu, I want to ask that how shall we do book distribution in universities? Like, how should we approach them, and which departments should we think about going?
Book distribution, well, the first thing, are we talking about Prabhupada's unchanged books or are we talking about changed books?
Yeah, Prabhupada's books and also in different languages. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, the
mostly
languages are important now because we are still in a non-communicative state of existence. But as our power of communication through IT increases, we'll be pretty well coming down to English. But for the time being, yeah, we can deliver books in different languages. We have no idea what they say, but we can do it. But the main thing about Prabhupada's books is the purpose of the books is so that when people read them, they will understand, yes, there is a God, and that God is Krishna. And yes, you can worship Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada said the only purpose for his books was to bring people to understand that they should chant. You
Hare
see?
Krishna.
So if people read the books and they want to become devotees, well, it gives them a background, just like the Bible goes all over the place. Cactuses, stony ground, lightning bolts, snakes in the river, and everything. The Bible's full of all this stuff, and people read it very as we say religiously, because they feel that somehow their salvation or their destiny is linked to all of these things that they read. Actually, it isn't. But what choice do they have? They've got a history book that talks about God, so they read the history book, no matter how complicated and weird and out of focus with modern science it happens to be.
Yes.
But the Bhagavatam is transcendental. It doesn't deal with anything as contemporary as 5,000 years ago. It goes into infinity, into eternity. Certainly, everything in our universe goes back to the beginning of the universe. And Brahma has been in charge of this universe since it was created or bubbled out of Lord Vishnu's body. So we don't need to worry about, but in terms to answer your question very directly, distributing Prabhupada's books increases the chance that people will choose to become devotees. It'll also increase the likelihood that Krishna consciousness will be accepted more and more in direct proportion to the number of books that are distributed. I mean, all sorts of people have distributed all sorts of books throughout history, but the Krishna consciousness books are capable, Prabhupada's books are capable of delivering people from repeated birth and death. Therefore, if people read them, never mind read them, if they simply buy them, never mind buy them, if they simply touch them, never mind touch them, if they simply see them, never mind even seeing them, if they even hear a book distributor talking about the book, they will make spiritual advancement that way too.
Hare
But if you buy
Krishna.
the book, read the book, live by the book, then you will become a devotee without a shadow of a doubt. And if not in this lifetime, in your next one.
Not easy to do.
So, Prabhu, what strategy should we follow in order to preach in a university? That how should we approach the departments? Can you suggest something?
Rupa, can you give me?
You said, how should we approach preaching and distributing books in a university?
Oh,
How should we approach departments?
Should we approach departments?
well, we have a problem with the change books because the universities stopped using Prabhupada's most authoritative Bhagavad Gita as it is, because when you go to the used bookstore, you get a different version than the one that they buy new to go into the class. So they stopped doing it because they began to feel that there was something fake behind it, which is horrible because Prabhupada's Gita is the most authoritative. But let's just say that if you can get them to take Prabhupada's unchanged books only and never use changed books, even when they're available cheaper in the used bookstore at the school, that then whoever reads it will make remarkable spiritual advancement. If you've ever taken a religion course in college, you will see that they don't know what they're talking about. They just touch on things that certain prominent scholars have said. They don't know if it's true or not. And if they have their own religion, they know it's not true, because why would a Christian or a Muslim say something in a different religion true? That goes against their instincts. The approach is to say Krishna is the cause of all causes. And when people ask me, oh, are you a Hare Krishna? I say, no, I'm neither Radha nor Krishna. They say, well, who do you worship? I say, I worship the all-attractive source of life. And I think that if you're selling to students, instead of saying this book is about Krishna, saying it's about the all-attractive source of life. How is all-attractive source of life pronounced in Sanskrit? Krish and Na. But what if you go for the meaning instead of the cliche that people say, oh, Krishna, are you a Hare Krishna? No, say all attractive source of life. People cannot resist it. When I talk to people that are prejudiced against devotees, they said, "Are you a Hare Krishna?" I say, "No." "Well, what do you worship?" "I worship the all attractive source of life." And I go here and there with that a little bit. I'm just talking to strangers I meet in the store or in the street.
How attractive source
And
of
I say,
life.
"And how about you? Do you believe in God?" "Yes." "Do you believe," because he's a Christian or something like that, "do you," largely a Christian, because they're the ones that are most determined. I say, "And do you consider God, as you study God, do you consider God to be all attractive or not up to that standard yet?" And they say, "Oh no, God is all attractive." I said, "Well, that's who I worship. God is all attractive. So we worship the same God. In fact, there is only one God. So if you say, I worship God who is all attractive, and leave Hare Krishna out of it to the antagonistic listener, if he's religious, he will say God is all attractive. Does it make any sense at all?
Yeah,
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
it makes sense. So
So we don't want to indoctrinate people. We don't want to cheat them and fool them. Some of our biggest book distributors were absolutely cheaters. And if they took a $20 bill, instead of giving back $15 in change, they'd run into the bathroom until the guy almost lost his ride on the airplane. And he went off in an angry mode. Why did that person take my $20 bill and not give me change? This sort of things maybe increase book distribution to maybe even thousands of dollars a day, but it is not the right way to preach. You preach with honesty and openness and help people understand that this book is about you, not about anything else. Say, if God is all attractive and you can see people are attractive, you can see nature is attractive, you can see trees and flowers are attractive, so God is all attractive. All this beauty and attractiveness you can see is included in Krishna, in God. And I say, and who is that? The all attractive source of life. And they say, is there a way to translate that? And I would say, well, that's English. What language would you like? Well, what about Sanskrit? Okay, Sanskrit, the original language? Sure. Okay, Krish? No, all attractive.
yeah,
Does that help?
yeah, that's very interesting and very easy.
Yes. And what we want to do is not preach at or try to convince people or trick them. What we want to do is enroll them. It's like if you want a bunch of people to come to your birthday party, you don't challenge them, you invite them, right? Oh, come to the party. There's going to be cake. There's going to be decorations. Do you like ice cream? What sort do you like? Pistachio? Yes, it'll be there. How about vanilla? Oh, good. Yes. Strawberry? Yes, we'll have that too. So in other words, you're inviting people to learn about who they are from a different perspective than they've had beaten into them as children.
Yeah.
Does
So
that
Prabhu,
work?
yeah. So Prabhu, I mean, in the universities, which departments might be interested in this philosophy so that we approach them first? Like,
That's interesting. Is that your main thing, is preaching in universities?
that's one of the thing. Like for book distribution, it's quite easy to begin with.
I'm sorry?
Like that's one of the things that I want
So
to
who
do.
do you distribute, try to engage in buying books? Who do you go to presently? Which departments?
Presently, like mostly the departments with religious studies kind of subjects.
Well, that's a good shot. Because Bhagavad Gita is religious study. But you could also go to psychology department and say,
Uh, Prabhu, your voice is quite chopped up.
see an inevitable, I'm sorry?
It was not clear what you just said in last sentence.
Okay.
Maybe internet issues.
If you go to the psychology department, philosophy department, you will see it is impeccable philosophy from beginning to end. If you go to the psychology department, you can say by following the path of the Bhagavad Gita, whoever is insane, by the time he finishes the 18th chapter, he will be very close to sane. If he accepts it and understands it, he will be completely sane. Psychology. If you go to the physics department, you can say this describes how the universe actually works. We have to confess that our scientists have got big lenses aimed at the outer space, but they don't have any lenses from
Narnarayan? Narnarayan.
Srimad Bhagavatam tells you is what it's like from other planets looking at Earth, not just what it's like on
Narnarayan.
Earth looking at other planets.
Narnarayan.
Well, whoever wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Narnarayan.
Well, it's just a really bad connection with him. It's like no use. He's cutting in and out, and
And he can't hear me.
yeah.
Narnarayan? Is he still there?
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, his name is still